aka Watch with Neebs, and I'm here with my co-host Jeff, aka DJ Hate Tweets.
What?
I took all of the hate that we got from last week's episode, or the last, what was it, like last Saturday's or Sunday's episodes, and I put them in a
Nice.
tweet. I put them in a tweet, Jazz. They're immortalized because we're gonna go back to these tweets when we finally made it, and we're gonna go haha to all the people that hated us. Although I didn't put their names on there, I took their names out, but it's our
Good on you.
motivation. Yo, I was mad sad, yo. People were hating on us. That's the first time we've got hate. We've never gotten hate on our podcast before.
Why? Because you told the truth?
Yes, people were mad. I don't know why people got mad. If you don't know what we're talking about, watch the episode that was on right before this episode, where we talk about our experience at an event called ISNA in Chicago, and it's just our experience. We didn't use any names, and we talked about the situation and how silly the situation was, and we were laughing about it. And people got upset. You want me to read some of the hate comments?
Bro, like, we're here for the tea. You have to.
All right. This is funny. I want our audience to know because they're funny. Some of them I'm not even mad at. Um, this one was like, "This is a boring podcast. They're trying to be funny, bro." My 6-year-old son has more viewers and followers on his YouTube channel than their podcasts. It was a boring podcast. They're just laughing and giggling like a bunch of hyenas, which is true. We do laugh a
It's
lot.
true. We do laugh.
We laugh a lot on this podcast because we're having a good time. Man, because this one is dude, this guy has 20 views on each of his videos. Listen, hey, fair.
Completely fair.
They said this chat has more followers than the YouTube channel. That's not true. The chat only has 400 and we have 1.5. Not a lot. It's not a lot, but we still do have more. Someone says, if you guys wanted to be truly petty, you'd host a live podcast at the same time and get twice as many watchers, which would be like 60.
Do it. Do it. I dare you.
Do it. Listen, I'm not mad at it, but like, we're gonna make these people eat their words, man. Or one day we'll be huge.
Okay, I'm motivated again.
I know. I was like, all right, you know what? We'll do it. Listen, we may not have a big following on YouTube, but we love our Spotify people. We one of the person was like, oh, I'll put you on my Instagram. It's 90 followers, like being sarcastic, and I was like, nah, I'm good. And then I showed a picture of my 127,000 followers on TikTok. I was like, nah, I'm good.
Oh my god! I wish I was in this chat now. Like,
yeah. Listen, I love the people in the chat. They're super nice, but they were hating, man. They were super mad. And like, well, fair, whatever. They have every right to be mad. But I told no lies.
right? Yeah. No, I mean,
I told them I told them if anything was incorrect, I'd be happy to go on and apologize and recant. They were like, no, we're good. So it is what it is. But let's go into what we're actually here for, and that is One Piece and a show about friendship, which is what we should be talking about. And we want to give a shout out to Skeeb, who is an expert on the show One Piece, who will be joining us today. Welcome, Skeeb.
Oh, thank you guys for having me again.
oh,
Yeah,
dude, always like you're the best. I mean, I don't like, yeah, I've never actually talked about like a lot of my hobbies in the past, but Skeeve and I, like, we've been in One Piece group chats for like the past 8 years, like discussing theories about everything. So like, you are the perfect person to have on, man.
I know you guys have been telling me for years to get into it, and I just got into it right before the show came out. I'm currently on the Annie's Lobby arc.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So I finished Water 7, which was good, and I finally got to meet Frankie. So that was fun. But yeah, I'm excited to go past this. So we did episode 1 and 2 last week. Jazz, I believe you still have to post that on Spotify. I don't know if you got a chance to. Yeah. So hopefully you'll have it up today.
It's done. It'll be uploaded right after this.
All right.
A bunch of random meetings came up, man. Like, we have a masjid here. The city's being stupid about their expansion. So I've been in Zoom meetings for the past 2 days about it. And so, yeah.
All good, man. So what we'll do is hopefully we'll have those two up, and then we'll have these two up. So you'll have a lot of content for this week, and then tomorrow we'll do Ahsoka. So it'll be lots of Salaam nerds content this week. At
Mm-hmm.
60 views an episode. All right. Listen, this was a fun episode because we were finally at Syrup Island and we got to meet Usopp. Now, Usopp is a character that I really, really enjoy in the show. I did not enjoy him as much in the anime, but in the show, I love him. I think they made his lies a little bit more subtle, and a little bit more like, I don't know, I would say normal than in the show. Because in the show, there were like huge exaggerations, there were wild stories, and here you're like, or maybe just the actor. The actor is that good at pulling it off, and he does a good job at that. But I like this version of Usopp. I love this actor. I think he does such a good job. I think he looks like Usopp. He doesn't have the long nose, which I'm kind of glad about because I feel like that would be very distracting and goofy looking in live action. Um, but other than that, I'm a big fan. Skeeb, what are your thoughts about Usopp, the character in this episode, and also how the actor portrays him?
Yeah, Jacob Romeo Gibson. The moment this man came on screen, I was like, this guy is perfect. Yes, I am kind of upset that they didn't give him the long nose, but I see the realism behind it, and the seriousness, that they didn't want to go down the comical route. But for the moment he said, the pirates are coming, the pirates are coming, and his like enthusiasm, his exaggeration, and just the way his inflections was definitely like the characteristics of Usopp.
Oh yeah, for sure. Jazz, what are your thoughts about the actor and the character from the show compared to the anime?
Um, I'm with you on that. It didn't hit as well because they took away a lot of the comedic parts of the anime in the live action. Um, that's not his fault. That's not the writer's fault exactly. They're just doing what they're supposed to do. The anime is just way crazy and super far fetched. So I get it. I get why they had to make the changes. I'm not upset about it too much. I get it. But yeah, like completely agree with both of y'all. This guy's perfectly cast. They've done such a good job with the casting on this show. Like I feel like there hasn't been a single miss so far.
Yeah. Well, here's where I'm gonna disagree with you guys a little bit. As someone who is very new into anime, the comedy in anime can be very jarring if you don't watch a lot of anime. It's really weird, it's really strange, and it almost feels a little cringe if you're not used to it. As I watch more and more, I get more and more used to these characters, and it doesn't feel as cringe. But like in the earlier episodes, when I first see Usopp, I had a real hard time. Like the exaggeration and like the whole like the way they were talking and the way they were making the jokes, they were a little over the top for me. So I could understand why the show is like, hey, a lot of people who don't watch anime are going to be watching that. So we're going to have to ease them in by making this a little bit more serious, a little bit more subtle, a little bit more dark. I can totally understand them doing that because it takes a while to get into the anime and how they talk and the absurdity of
Mm-hmm.
like some of the jokes and hitting each other. Like it's a cartoon, but it's still like, you need it to be real. Same thing with like Looney Tunes. Like Looney Tunes, the jokes are just very cartoonish, and they don't always translate into real world stories. So I don't know. We'll see. But I really like this. And let's get into the breakdown of this episode. So the episode breaks down with Usopp as a young kid walking around going, the pirates are coming, the pirates are coming. And then he's also doing it as he's older. I thought it was perfect. I thought it was really, really good. But I did notice his pirates weren't there. The Usopp pirates, Onion, Pepper, and what's the other one? Onion,
Carrot.
Pepper, and Carrot.
Carrot.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So these guys weren't there, and I was like, oh, I really wanted to see them, but I could see them taking away from the story if they only have so little time. And they didn't do the whole thing in the forest because they decided to move things up a little bit and they needed things to happen a bit faster. So I totally understand that. Back on the ship, Luffy is designing a pirate ship, and it's a very goofy looking Jolly Roger, which is taken straight from the comics. And I thought that was, I mean, sorry, not comics, manga, and straight from the anime. I thought that was really, really cool. And as soon as they get to the island, they find the Going Merry. Now, in the anime, that's not what happened. They don't see the Going Merry till the very end. And Usopp's working on the Going Merry, which also doesn't really take place because Usopp just a random kid in the village who goes around making trouble and you know, telling lies. And we find out later why he tells these lies. But he had a friendship with a girl named Kaya, and he goes to her window and he tells her these crazy stories. To him, he thinks he's telling the truth. Uh, Everyone knows in the city that he is a liar. So this show has already been uh, going astray and away from the cartoon anime. Sorry. What were your thoughts about that when we first start seeing it and we realized that they're going in a different direction? Because the first two episodes were pretty spot on when it comes to everything the way it happened, maybe a little bit sped up, but it was very close. And here we're already seeing a lot of deviation. Skeeb, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, once again, you have 61 episodes that you want to condense into 8 episodes on Netflix. And so
Yeah.
you are going to take a lot of the content out. Now let's backtrack just a little bit. Usopp. Usopp is the boy who cried wolf, and in
Right.
Japanese, Uso is means lie in Japanese. And so,
Mm.
and also going back to the stories that he's telling to Kaya, we talked about the backstory of his mother, right? Just
Not yet, but we can go into it. We can go to it now. Tell people about the backstory of his mom.
Yes. So, amongst all the other One Piece characters, Usopp's backstory wasn't the greatest, but it's still relevant to what we need to know. So, Usopp's mom is really ill, and she's really sick, and so Usopp is there to console her, and he's telling everyone in the village about these lies that he's procuring, but he's doing that to make his mother feel better. And so his mother passes away, unfortunately, at a very young age, and Yasop, his father, isn't there to help him. That's why he's saying, "Oh, the pirates are coming! The pirates are coming!" Because he really wants Yasop to come back.
Right.
Unfortunately, he doesn't come back. His mother passes away, and he then visits Kaya. And so he tells Kaya all these stories, these majestic, imaginative stories, only just so that she can feel better. That's the
Mhm.
reason why Usopp lies. He tells these lies so people can feel better about themselves.
Yeah. It's really different than when normal people tell lies because normal people tell lies for, their own gain, whereas he does it to make other people happy. Is very strange. But it shows what a big heart this person has. He's not
Yes.
a bad person. He's someone with a big heart. And totally agree with that. And then they decide to buy the Going Merry, even though they have no money. So they end up taking them to Kaya's place, where Kaya gets to meet these pirates. And she says, "Hey, if they're a friend of Usopp's, they're okay." And they get invited to dinner. And, Luffy loves his dinner. He loves his meat. And we know that's really, really fun. And they ask him to go and put on some nice clothes, which I thought was funny. And they go and, Nami picks out some clothes. Zoro picks out some clothes. It was really cool. I'm surprised no one picked out an afro. I don't know if you guys, there is a reference to an afro in one of the fights last time. They asked Luffy to change into different clothes. But yes, that was really cool. And then here we meet people like Kahador, who is the butler, and we also meet Mary, who is in charge of the shipping dock. And we meet two other people that are like a chef and like a maid. And we're trying to figure out who all these people are. And they get invited to this party, like a dinner. And what were your thoughts when we get to meet all of these characters, Jazz?
So, my first thought immediately was, how are they gonna do his weapons, right? Because like in the anime, he's like really sinister. Um,
Kahador, you're talking about.
yeah,
Yeah.
Kahador, right? Yeah, and so his like Edward Scissorhands kind of things with knives, but they're cat paw. In the anime, it ended up being kind of funny, but that was my immediate first thought was like, how are they gonna do this? As for the look of the characters, my God, they nailed the villain here. Like
So
he looks
good.
just like the guy in the anime. So, yeah, and they got his mannerisms correct. They got a lot of things were different. Like I mean, I don't actually remember because God, this part of the anime I watched when I was, I want to say 13 years old, and that was 20ish years ago. So yeah, I actually cannot remember like how like was the poison actually part of the anime. Neves, you may have to confirm that. Um,
What poison? Oh no, the poison was not. The poison was not part
okay,
of
yeah,
the
because I
anime.
don't remember like it being in the anime. So I'm like, is this part of it? Like,
Well, no,
I
I mean,
cannot remember.
no, no. The poison for Kaya was true, but the poison
Right,
for Luffy was not. That part was fake.
right, yeah, that's I was like, something's different here for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, it was just a good take on it, and it felt more believable than the anime a bit. So I was like, you know what, I accept this. This is great.
yeah, yeah. Ski, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Jazz did it really well. They nailed these characters. And it's the same thing. Kaya's trying to invite them over for her 18th birthday party, which is what the party's
Yes,
about. And as she turns 18, she gets the ownership of the shipwright. That's
right.
why Cardor is trying to poison her so that he can eventually kill her and then eventually gain the rights to the shipwright and become rich off of their family's fortune. And so again, spot on. And it's kind of like they don't want the Straw Hat Pirates to fool their plans and intervene. And so I feel that's the reason why he's always yelling at them and telling them to leave, even though Kaya is a sweet, innocent girl and always like welcoming and doing everything she can to help them out.
Yeah. And a little backstory on Cahardor. The reason he's doing all this, he used to be a big pirate of the Black Cat Pirates. And he was the man of 1,000 plans or something like that was his name. And he was such a good like tactician. But what he realized is that no matter what he does, he's still a pirate. And no matter how successful he is, he will always have the Marines after him. He didn't want to live his life with looking over his shoulder for the rest of his life. So what he decided to do was fake his death. And he faked his death with somebody who he knew would be vain enough to claim it, and that was Axehand Morgan. So the rumor was that Axehand Morgan killed him and he was gone, and then he washes up ashore and becomes the butler for Kaya. And he pretends to be a butler for a long time. He's the one who kills their parents, apparently. All right, I believe that's
In
what
the
happens in the
anime,
anime. In
yes,
the anime,
yeah,
yes.
or
In the
sorry, in
anime,
the live action, yes.
no, in the anime too.
Yeah, yeah.
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 So and then he just stays there for like I think 5 years or something like that until she comes of age where he could kill her. And that's the plan. And the thing is, Usopp and Luffy find out in the anime, and he throws Luffy over a cliff. And Usopp he lets live because he doesn't care about Usopp because no one will ever believe Usopp because he is the boy who cried wolf. Now that was changed in this. In this, basically what happens is they're poisoning her, and then the crew is there. Luffy ends up incapacitated by eating all the poison. He goes in the kitchen,
That
eats all the
tracks.
poison. Yeah. And then Mary confronts Kahador about signing over ownership of the shipyard to him and says, I need to talk to Kaya first. And then this is where we see him do the pussycat maneuver, which is the way he uh, I don't know, does like disappears and teleports. It's called the pussycat maneuver. So he does this, and by shifting back and forth and doing the stuff, he's super fast and no one can see him. And then he kills Mary. As he kills Mary, what's the name? Zoro is obviously just like trying to get some drinks because he is always looking for booze. Uh, and Usopp basically takes him down to the cellar to get some booze, and that's where they come across the body of Mary. And when they do that, they knock Zoro out and Usopp runs away. And the same thing, Usopp goes, tells everybody the pirates are coming, the pirates are here, which is something he always does, and no one believes him. So it's kind of the same thing that happens in the anime, but very, very different. What were your thoughts about these changes? Steve, you want to go first?
Yeah, no, I'm with it. They're doing a really good job keeping the consistency of it. The only difference is that they did bring Colby and Hamefo back and the Marines,
Right.
and so the Marines intercept the house after they intercept the house, and they're like, "Hey, is there anything going on?" And then Kuro is like, oh, we have Kalidor is we have pirates here that are running a muckus or something like that. And Usopp's
Yeah,
like, no, you have to arrest him. He's the one doing the bad deed. And Kuro is just like playing the innocent person, saying, oh, this guy's like a mental disease. He's been like this since he was a kid. You
yep,
should not believe what he says. Because also, when Usopp was going around yelling, hey, the pirates are coming, you have to stop Cardor of the Black Cats. Hamefo says, no, he's dead because my father had killed him. His father's
right.
ex-Morgan. And so that's why from there he never believes Usopp, but Kobe is always like, oh, this guy, he must be telling the truth. I believe his innocence, but I can't do anything right now because, like, in the name of justice, I have to believe what this other gentleman says.
Yeah.
They leave.
Kobe has really, really good instincts, but he has to follow things by the book, which is what makes him different than Luffy. Luffy
Mm-hmm.
also has good instincts, but Luffy doesn't follow the books. He has freedom and he can do whatever he wants. So it's a two sides of the same coin, which is really, really cool. So yeah, so as Usopp goes around saying that the pirates are here, they're like, all right, let's go and find out. And what they do is they ask him about Luffy. And he's like, yeah, we got him. So they go and they get Luffy, who's passed out on food, and they take him away. And then they were not able to prove anything else. So Kahador slammed the door on them and they kind of just leave, which was kind of funny. And then I think what happens is other things that we didn't really talk about uh, that I want to mention is that Usopp and Luffy have a conversation about his dad, which we didn't talk about. And then oh, was that episode 4 or was that this episode 3? I think it was
Oh no,
3,
sorry.
right?
Skeve and I are talking about other things in the private chat.
Okay, okay. All right, got it. All right.
Ignore
So,
us.
no worries, no worries. Okay, so he talks about his dad, Usopp, and Luffy over here goes, "Wait, I know him. He's part of Shank's crew."
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "What? You know him?" And he's like, "Yeah, he used to tell me stories, hit me on his lap." And I'm over here thinking, like, "Yo, Usopp must be mad as fuck because this guy's being raised by his father." Like, I'd be so mad.
Father of the Year
I,
award.
yo, he's like the father of the year, but like someone who's not his son. He left his son and his dying wife alone on this island and went ahead and was a father to a stranger. I'd be mad as hell. No surprise, freaking Usopp and Luffy go at it years later. A lot of resentment there. Oh man, what did you guys
Poor
think
guy.
about that? I thought that was funny. I thought that was hilarious. He's over there all happy, but I'm like inside, he's mad as hell.
My God, he was definitely mad on the inside. I mean, no, he's not because we know Usopp thinks of his dad as like a hero and whatnot. But
Yeah,
like we
I'd be
know
mad. I'd
the
be
real
petty.
story. Yeah, like if now that we know the real story, I'm upset for him. But I don't think Usopp would ever be mad because he's just idolizes him too much.
I don't know. I think Usopp's a deadbeat man.
Yes,
I'm
Yasop is a
sorry.
deadbeat.
Usopp is a deadbeat. Does he even know his wife's dead? Can I answer,
yeah,
or is that a
No, he
spoiler?
doesn't.
he
He
doesn't.
doesn't.
Hmm.
Oh my
They've
god!
never
They,
brought this up, and I just confirmed it actually.
What? 1,000
Yasop has
episodes and they haven't brought this up?
no,
no.
they had like a filler episode, right, where Usopp meets Yasop and they just talk really quick. I remember something off of that.
I don't recall that at all because if
That's
it's
a lot. I
filler, that
believe
also
that.
tracks because I don't actually watch all the fillers. So
Yeah.
that could be me. Yeah, but as far as I know, I don't think it ever happened.
That's crazy. All right. Well, if somebody's listening and they know, feel free to fact check us. But
Yeah. Leave
that's
the comments.
crazy. That's crazy that like homeboy, 1,000 episodes and this guy still doesn't know his wife's dead. That's crazy. And he doesn't seem to
Yo, I'm reading
care.
the Vibra card.
Favorite part.
Yasop left his wife, having never met his son in his life.
Yeah.
What? Oh, so that was the
That's
filler.
in the Vibra card. Yeah.
Wow.
So then,
Damn.
yeah, that whatever filler or maybe it was a movie is non-canon, and that's where you're probably thinking of Skeeb. Yeah.
No.
But
The yeah, filler. It was like probably a filler episode.
yeah, but it's not canon then, because yeah, the Vibra card is saying that he's never met his son.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
He's just like, I'm out, Syrup Village.
Yeah,
He's worse than
Milkshakes.
Goku.
Huh?
He's
that's
a worse father
crazy.
than Goku. Oh my god.
Goku still had good
Yeah.
intentions. He would visit his family every now and then.
Right,
No
exactly. He
child
did the
support,
bare
no
minimum.
nothing. And like his wife is like hyping him up, saying all this good shit about him to his son, and his son idolizes him. I'd be like, yo, that's a deadbeat.
Mm. Mm.
He-
But
Poor
He's
Usopp.
probably
they're both snipers though. The best snipers.
yeah, they're
This
both
is true.
snipers. They are the best snipers. All right, so they're in the wine cellar, and Zoro gets knocked out, and they throw him inside a well. Now that's where they end off with Zoro. Uh, let's see. And then Nami ends up hiding somewhere. So she is being super secret. No, she's not hiding somewhere. She basically starts stealing stuff. She takes a
Yeah,
pillowcase and
with a
starts stealing
pillowcase. Yeah.
things. Yes, that's what happens. And as she's stealing stuff, she walks into Kaya's room, and Kaya sees her stealing stuff, and she's like, "I ain't even mad. You want to take it? Take it." Kaya is such a sweet little girl. She's like, "I have enough. You need it? Take it." Um, I thought that was pretty interesting. And then they sit down and they have like a girl talk, a little heart to heart. And I don't know if they show all of it in this episode or do they show all of the heart to heart in the next episode. They
I
kind
think
of
it was
blur
all in the
together.
same one.
Yeah. So Kaya tells Nami all about her history, like what happens to her parents, why she likes Usopp, and like they kind of talk about like, oh, do they like each other or do they just like each other? Now in the anime, I got the impression they were just really really close friends and really loved each other as friends. In this one, possibly a little more. They don't know. In this episode, they don't really tell you, but in another episode, we do find out, which I thought was interesting. So we got a little closure on that. Was not mad about that. And I think that's all that happened in episode 3.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we missed before we go into episode 4?
Well, there's a little bit of the heart to heart that they were having. I think Nami was triggered by some of the things that Kaya was saying. And it's kind of something that we've been building on since episode 1, 2, 3, that we'll eventually get to when we get to episode 7 and 8.
Yeah,
the
I really
whole
love the fact that we
village
see a
and-
little bit of Lami's story. Yeah,
Yes.
Mhm.
like you don't realize that this is the main story until much later.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They're doing a wonderful job opening all these threads and weaving it in later. Like it's so good.
Yeah, I think that's how the episode
Yeah.
ends. Right?
All right. Anything else before we move on to the next one?
No, I think we're good, man. Let's just jump into episode 4.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna jump into episode 4. We're gonna redo the intro.